This E3 coverage is brought to you by Ting, mobile that makes sense.
Hey guys, Nick and Tara here for Referee Games, and I have spent almost all morning at the Ubisoft booth checking out all of their games. You and I both saw a special behind closed doors presentation of Assassin's Creed Unity. Yeah, they showed two different demos off. Both of them were demos that they had during the press conferences. But it's always nice to be able to hear the developers actually narrate and talk about what's going on as it's happening.
I mean, it was almost a shot-for-shot identical thing, the way he played through to what we saw in the demo, but the narration contributed a lot because they told us about a lot of the new mechanics that you're going to see in the game.
Yeah, and I have to echo, watching these kinds of things debut on a live stream is so not the right way to watch them. I mean, for excitement purposes, yes, but what we saw in that room looked so much better visually than what we saw on the stream. Like, this is a gorgeous game.
Right, seeing it up close is a lot better than seeing it like you might have seen it with crappy YouTube compression.
Exactly,
like
and you notice the small details, like when you go into the palace, the paintings on the ceilings, the light coming through the windows, the costumes. It's all really detailed and beautiful.
For sure.
They have made, and I don't believe they mentioned this in the live stream, they have made a lot of overhauls to some of the gameplay mechanics. The first one is descent. So they have this new thing now called controlled descent. So before, if you wanted to jump off of a high surface, you would have to fall into a haystack. You still have the option to do that, but now you can also do controlled descent, which allows you to sort of swing your way down to the bottom.
The way the guy described it is you could do it up or down, but basically you can run off the side of any building, it seems like, and not instantly die if you're not in front of a haystack. Your character will just sort of naturally find a way. So it's a quick way to descend, obviously, without having to try to find these very specific points to do it.
Exactly.
It might have been the coolest thing I saw, because the animation looked very procedural, very dynamic, very natural, and it just seems like one of those tiny things that would make the game faster to play. You know what I mean?
They also have some new types of missions in the game. So they talked about these murder mystery missions where you go into a house, because the whole city of Paris is, and the whole country of France really, is in this gigantic state of turmoil. And so there are a lot of people who have been killed, and if you go into a random house, you might find a woman, you know, like weeping over her dead husband or something. And you have the option to solve that murder mystery, or you can also add it to your quest log and come back later and complete it at any time.
The idea being, I think, that you can not take up a side quest without having to stop down and interrupt what you're doing, which is a pretty cool idea. I hope that they make it as fluid and as dynamic as they are claiming it will be. Because that is a pretty exciting change structurally to Assassin's Creed mission design.
And I think that same idea also applies to some other changes in the game, like the seamless indoor-outdoor stuff, like how you can see people indoors when you're outside.
Jump through windows, no load screens. The other cool thing, I think, from just a pure stand-back design standpoint, is that it doesn't appear, at least in what we saw, that there was a mini-map. Instead, if you want to see nearby quests, you just get on a rooftop outside, which is where you spend a lot of time in Assassin's Creed anyway. And it kind of declutters the screen, I guess.
That is one of the coolest things, I think, that they've done for this, because there's so much stuff in Assassin's Creed games, and having to constantly go into the mini-map, or not the mini-map, I should say, having to constantly go into the map, it brings you out of the game a lot, and now you literally just see the city of Paris, but with little icons everywhere showing you exactly where to go and what to do.
They described it as a one-to-one rendering of the city, which I don't know exactly what that means. If that means that the buildings are to scale, that might be one thing, but I don't know.
That's what that means.
It can't be the entire city, I don't think.
I'm not totally certain about that.
One other thing they talked about adding was there's a now dedicated button for stealth. So you can press a button to hide behind cover and sort of sneak around things, kind of like you saw in that press conference demo.
They also have a full parry system now in the combat. There are a couple small changes in the combat like that.
It's funny though, I have to admit that I feel like all of the things that they described to us were things that I might not have noticed if there wasn't a man there describing them to me. The game ultimately looks a lot like Assassin's Creed, and you probably know whether or not you're into Assassin's Creed at this point.
Yeah, it's true. Like I said, I think the most impressive change that they have made is adding all of those icons, so you can really immerse yourself in the world without having to take yourself out of it periodically. So that is Assassin's Creed Unity. Like I've told you many times before, we're going to have tons of coverage from the show floor this week, so please subscribe and stay tuned for more.
Hey, if you're enjoying our E3 coverage, you can support us by checking out Ting, a cell phone service provider where you only pay for what you use. 98% of people, that's a 9 followed by an 8, would save money by switching to Ting, sometimes hundreds of dollars a year. Here's what makes Ting different from your current plan. With Ting, you only ever pay for what you use, and so if you're like me and never use the actual phone part of your phone bill that month would be $0. Ting is also completely contract-free, which means no early termination fees, and Ting will even help you pay your network's early termination fees so you can make the switch over. They've even got a savings calculator to help you figure out exactly how much you'd save in just a couple of seconds. Support us by going to rev3games.ting.com and you'll get $25 in credit off your first bill or device.